The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Oh. Did you hear that message as well, Grant?
Yep, you're going.
Okay. All right, well, I'm just going to go ahead and start it off then, folks. That's okay with you? Brian, Lynn? Okay. Well, welcome everybody to our third attempt at having a virtual town hall. I appreciate you tuning in and appreciate our IT folks for organizing this. We hope that it goes well. The way it'll work is I'll do some introductions, then you'll have some brief updates from the city, from the Yelm Community Schools, and from the Yelm Area Chamber of Commerce. And then hopefully we'll be able to see some questions and comments coming in from the audience, and we'll respond to those. So with me today, I'm J.W. Foster, Mayor of Yelm, and I have Brian Wharton, who is the Superintendent of Yelm Community Schools, and Lynn Critchfield from the Yelm Area Chamber of Commerce. She's the Executive Director, and we also have the President of the Board, Angie Evans, linked in, although we may not have her on screen for this presentation. So to make sure that this is working, I know one person who's watching. Angela, would you send me a text message to make sure that you're hearing me? Because I don't want to just talk to myself. I'd have to get 6 feet apart somehow. I don't know how I was going to work that. Or Nikki, somebody out there, send me a text message that lets me know that this is working. And Angela says that she hears me. So good. We'll continue on then. Excellent. So I'm going to start off with an update from Yelm. And I'm going to start with the good news, because part of my job as mayor is to be Yelm's biggest cheerleader. Even my blood type is B positive. That's my bad joke for the day. But really, I just want to spread a message of good news, because we are doing a great job out here in Yelm, folks. Across the country, not so good in some places. Some communities are suffering terribly from this virus. We here in the state of Washington and in Thurston County, and particularly the Yelm area, have been spared so far, and there's 3 reasons why. Number 1, we started early in our response. Number 2, we were spared the explosive spread that some communities have seen because of a church group or a nursing home or another group was infected, and then they infected other people very quickly. We've avoided that. And that's the 3rd reason. We've been taking this so seriously. I've seen a great response from the community of Yelm in the social distancing and in practicing good hygiene. And it seems to be working as far as the numbers are going from the health department. Very low numbers of actual cases in the Yelm area. And I think we're up to 70 some in the county, but they're scattered around the county and are not in any of these clusters like we've seen in other places. That's good news. The bad news is this may be remembered as the summer that wasn't, because everybody's having to cancel their major events. We're not going to be able to sponsor events at the community center. Lynn, from that, we have, from the city of Yelm, everything is up and running. It took us a little while to get our electronic feet under us, but all services are continuing, even though most of them are being done virtually by our employees. You do see officers on the street, of course, and we have limited public works members out doing basic infrastructure and lawn maintenance and that kind of thing. Mind you, the parks and trails in Yelm are open. They have always been. We did not close them down. That was a decision I made early on to allow people the opportunity to get out and have some healthy exercise. without being too strict about these things. We put messages every place that you can play on the play equipment at your own risk, that we aren't able to sanitize them between uses. And I've seen most people being very smart about it. Moms out there wiping things down before they let their kids play. But a group of people out kicking a soccer ball around in the field is fairly safe, healthy exercise. We should continue to do that. Walk on the trails, ride your bikes, be safe, be socially distant, and all that. So those things are still working. We're still going on. Your water and sewer plants are still being operated by our team. And on that note, I want you to understand that our finance department is working. We are sending out bills on time. We do expect people to pay their bills as they are able to, and we'll talk about relief opportunities in a minute. But it's so important for people to maintain our local economy, which includes supporting the stores and the restaurants that are still open, but it also is so important to maintain the infrastructure of the city of Yelm. And so as you can, please pay your bills as well. And again, we'll talk about some opportunities for relief on that in just a minute. Great shout out to our businesses that have been able to stay open, either because they weren't affected by the stay home order, or they've been called essential services, or they're restaurants that have found different ways to provide food service to the community. And a great big shout out to those people who have volunteered in so many ways, right down to like making these masks. My friend Debbie Edwards made me mine, and it works great. Maybe a little bit longer, except I found it's important to not wear this when I come into the house. It scares the dog. So put it on when you need to, otherwise stay 6 feet away from people. And I did ask the firefighters, what can we do to help you all? Because you're out there on the front lines, as so many other workers are, the nurses and everybody else that are still having to do the job. And you know what their message was to me? Stay home. They want us to stay home and practice good social distancing and don't become part of the problem, be part of the solution, which I think we've done a great job of here in Yelm. So thank you everybody for doing that. I'm going to pass the virtual mic over to Superintendent Wharton now for an update on the schools, and then we'll go over to Lynn. Brian?
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here and talk with what's up to, looks like 46 folks already, but a very quick review on what's happened in our schools since March 13th. That was our last day in session. The state gave us 5 directives, and not at one time. That's been happening as an evolving set of directions since the closure. But our first one was to get a food service program up and running. And I'm really excited to report that our staff has just done an incredible job. We're serving an average of 1,200 bags of food a day at 8 different locations around the area. Our highest day was over 1,800 bags of food. And those bags contain lunch for that day and breakfast for tomorrow. And they're free to any 18-year-old person, whether they're in our school system or not. We have students who live in Yelm who attend other school districts, and they're welcome to come to our food distribution locations and get a bag of food. That's totally acceptable. And like I said, our transportation and food service workers have just really stepped up to do a fabulous job preparing and delivering those meals at those sites. Our second directive was to set up a child care facility for the families of healthcare workers and first responders, and we've done that in conjunction with YCare. We have a child care opportunity at Mill Pond Elementary. We're shut down for this week during spring break, but we'll start up again right after, or start up again on Monday, and be able to serve students whose families are out doing this incredible work for us in the community. The third task that we were given is one that we're really putting a lot of energy into now, and that's really figuring out how do we best support our seniors who are in their last 40 days, 45 days of school, making sure that they have every opportunity to earn the credits, do the work that's necessary between now and June 14th to earn their diploma. You know, just like our food service workers and transportation folks, our instructional staff has stepped into the role and really done a great job of connecting with each one of those seniors, doing student-led conferences a week and a half ago. And then we're in the process of really identifying what the plan is for every senior. I know that there are a lot of questions within the community about what graduation ceremony looks like or won't look like. Unfortunately, that looks like it will be very much impacted by the social distancing and social events regulations, but we're going to do a lot of different things to really make sure that we congratulate and thank those members of the class of 2020 for all the work that they've put in for the last 13 years getting ready for this point. There's a lot of different activities that have already started, recognizing our students who have been accepted and moving on to higher education opportunities, military, everything, and we're just trying to celebrate them as much as we can. At the same time, making sure they understand the message that school's not over. We've got work to do in May and June, April, May, and June to get ready for that. The fourth task that we had was an even more daunting large-scale task, and that was to switch our schools from an in-person delivery system to a remote delivery system. And we're very happy with the results that we'll see starting on Monday, where every one of our teachers has set up a Google Classroom where students can see videos or they can look at the lessons. They have access to videos that their teachers are posting. And we will be conducting continuous learning from April 13th to the end of the school year. And that was a massive undertaking where all of our teachers have really leaned in and said, what is the most important things that our kids have to show mastery of between now and the end of the year? I'm shrinking down that timeline a little bit. We've lost about 15 days of instruction, but we're really going to do this with incredible gusto and incredible intentionality so that our students can finish the year strong and be very ready to start next September with that version of school, if everything's back to normal or if we're still impacted by COVID-19. And then the last task, the mandate that we had was to make sure that our employees continue to be employed, that we're making sure that their salary and benefits is being maintained, and that essential operations of the district are underway. And one of the big ones that was allowed through the direction of the governor is that our construction project at Yelm Middle School is continuing, and you can see that the earthwork is well underway, and that's saving taxpayers a lot of money in making sure that that project stays on time. So those are the 5 mandates. I'll just close by saying I'm incredibly proud of first our staff who have really adopted through a lot of difficulty an attitude of let's go to work. And we've been really happy with the response from our families and our students. We held over 5,200 conferences in 3 days. We've distributed almost 2,900 Chromebooks for students to use, and we're really ready to launch our continuous learning plan for the rest of the school year. So thanks everyone for your cooperation and support.
Very good, Brian. Thank you so much. Lynn, before we go on, I want to check in with Grant, who is our IT guy. Grant, are you seeing any questions, comments coming in from people because I can't see them?
Not yet. I will ping you in the chat window when that happens.
Okay. Folks who are out there in audience-ville, if you're having trouble trying to send in a message to the panelists via the chat function, I would invite you to send an email to either myself or to Grant Beck.
Councilmember Colt just proved the system works.
Thank you, Councilmember Colt. And how can I see that message so that I can screen them? Grant?
There should be in your dashboard, there should be a panel called questions.
Yeah. So there's not. So you'll have to send those to my email, Grant, which I'll have open, and I can view them from there, and then I can ask the question, and Lynn or Angie or Brian could answer it. Will that work for you? Okay. So Lynn, before we get started, I'll just tell people if you can't get through on the chat, please send an email to jwf@yelmwa.gov. jwf@yelmwa.gov. One way or the other, we want to hear your questions and comments so that we can respond to them. Lynn, would you tell us what's going on in the chamber?
Certainly, thank you. If there's anything that we've learned during this, it is how quickly our businesses and our business community is able to adjust and adapt to these changing environments. We have been watching our business community grow despite obstacles thrown at them, and they are showing Yelm how in it they are. We've seen FitStop 24 move their timeline up and move into their new location, so they're ready to open when they're allowed to, and we're ready to celebrate with them. We've been sharpening our ribbon cutting scissors. We're ready to go. We've seen our restaurants move their operations to curbside, and we've seen some add delivery services to their offerings. Yelm Cinemas just added a curbside pickup last weekend for movie theater popcorn, and passed out about 300 buckets in an hour. 300 buckets an hour, including a bucket to a couple dressed to the nines, making the most of celebrating their anniversary during this stay-at-home, stay-safe order. We've seen collaborations like Twister Donuts moving into the Shiplap Shop and Coffee House, and Shiplap has started doing Facebook Live sales and seeing 5,000 views on those videos. And Angie has a little bit more to share about what is coming up from the chamber, from the chamber's perspective.
Take it away, Angie. Well, we seem to have lost Angie, Lynn.
I can continue. Our business community is adjusting, but we know that there are still struggles. That's why we have created and are maintaining a list of business resources on our website, which is yelmchamber.com. There we've curated a list of services, local, state, and federal, including the Thurston Economic Development Council's COVID-19 hotline, which, get your pens handy, is 1-888-821-6652, and that's open Monday through Friday from 9:30 to 3:30. Thurston Strong and the Small Business Administration. That website, our website, is a one-stop shop for our business community to check into those resources that are available. It's also why we've moved many of our meetings, including our chamber forum, to an online platform, much like this. That way we can still share information with our members and our business community, even though we can't meet physically. Our next meeting is next week for our chamber forum on Tuesday. And we've invited Jennifer from the Small Business Development Center to share her expertise with us, and we will have ample opportunity for questions. We've just elected a new board of directors who will be taking a hard look at ways the chamber can help Yelm's business community. It's also why we're creating the Business Economic Recovery Task Force, which is a group of individuals who are committed to seeing Yelm thrive at the end of this. So through everything, with everything, we want our business community to know that we are committed to weathering this storm with them. And that's all I have.
Very good. Brian, when you were talking about the food distribution, I know most people are already aware of this, but could you remind us where those locations are and what times they would be available for pickup?
Certainly, the times are easy. It's 11 to 12:30 daily, and that includes service during this week's spring break. We have distribution at Southworth. We have distribution at Yelm High School, Ridgeline Middle School, McKenna Elementary, Fort Stevens Elementary. We are out at Mackey's at Lawrence Lake and at the front and the back entrance of Clearwood.
Very good, thanks. I will circle back around and mention some things that I hadn't mentioned yet that were important to folks from before. So I did get some questions about law enforcement of the governor's stay-home order. There's been some confusion about that. Essentially, the question is if the constitutionality of the governor's order infringing on the rights of people to do what they do and gather in public and so forth. And of course, this can be interpreted by many people in different ways. The intent of the order is not to take away your freedoms, but to allow you to live long enough to enjoy those freedoms. By working together and not being offended by this, I think we'll be better off down the road. Our officers in Yelm have not been given the directive to enforce any of these orders, but rather to be coaches if they feel it's necessary, to go up to a group of kids who might be congregating at the skate park or someplace and go, hey guys, it'd be in your best interest if you maintain social distance, that kind of thing. That's all we're doing. I went around early on to many of the businesses in town and in some cases helped coach them a little bit on how to improve the flow of traffic in and out, and a couple of them were letting a few too many people into their store at the same time, and when made aware of that, they were very quick to respond and set up really innovative ways to help safely move people in. You've had places like Safeway who set up special hours in Walmart to let more vulnerable people come in earlier in the day on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I believe, to shop more safely. And all of their employees are wearing masks now and they're sanitizing the carts. Most of the places have taken great efforts to sanitize and watch for interactions between people so that if you're using a pen to sign your receipt, that pen would then get wiped down so you don't transmit anything to the next person. I think that's gone a long way to helping out. And again, our officers are out there to be helpful, to be public servants, and they won't be pulling people over and asking for some pass. That doesn't exist. There is no special handshake that you have to know. Of course, you wouldn't do a handshake anyway now, would you? But we are allowed to go about, do our normal activities. We're just asking people to be smart about that. Brian or Lynn, any other comments that you'd like to throw in at this point?
I did have a request to repeat the hotline number, so I'm just going to do that. Get your pens handy one more time. It's 1-888-821-6652. And again, that can all be found on our website, yelmchamber.com as well.
And that can also be found at yelmwa.gov. It can be found links from our social media pages. And you can also go to thurstonstrong.org, thurstonstrong.org. They've done a great job of compiling all of the resources. So between the chamber, the city, and the county, every resource that's available for a small business or for a self-employed individual or for a worker who's lost their job, their income, all of those resources are available through links that you'll find on those sites. But I did want to take a moment to talk about a brand new resource that we've just established. My wife and I were talking the other day about how we're fortunate enough to have a reliable income through this and that we don't see a particular need for the $1,200 relief check that's going to be coming in, and how could we best spend that locally to support folks. And so I reached out to a couple of partners we've already worked with, America's Credit Union and the Together organization that works within our school system to provide food and hygiene objects and counseling to our kids. And we were very quickly able to stand up a new fund that we're calling the Yelm Community Relief Fund. And the idea is that anybody can donate to this by going to an ACU, America's Credit Union, and just putting a check or cash into a deposit envelope and putting a note in there that says this goes to the Yelm Community Relief Fund. The monies will be held in trust within their existing foundation, the AC Foundation, and then they'll funnel the money over to Together, who will vet applications from people for relief funds. Now, we're going to ask people to be honest about this. We want to help you if you are in need. We're still figuring out the max amount, but you can expect up to $500 of immediate relief if you can demonstrate to us that you're in a financial pinch because of the virus, the shutdown, you've lost your job or whatever. There'll be a form that you'll be able to fill out, a few easy questions, a couple of pieces of documentation, and we will give you a check. This will be a turnaround of like 2 days. So we just stood this up. We're still making the final details. So look for links that we'll find again on the chamber, on the Yelm pages, and the school district. I'm sure will share this, and we'll get an opportunity for people to share and share alike as this relief money comes in from the CARES Act. I hope it helps. Brian or Lynn?
I just want to answer one of the questions that came in, and the question was, do our students have to be present when they pick up the breakfast and lunch at one of the delivery sites? And the answer is not anymore. That has changed. That guidance from the federal government has changed. We will just ask you what school that student is affiliated with. We don't take names or anything like that, but we do have to tally how many lunches are attributed to each school. So we also if there's needs beyond just our distribution, we are still continuing to do weekend homeless backpacks to, I think we did about 103 families last weekend, last Friday, and we'll continue to do that. So we want to keep pushing those food resources out there and helping, asking for help from the community and identifying families that might need supports from us or from other agencies here in the area.
That's a good one. Yet I want to again throw kudos out to people like the volunteers with the Together organization and with Rotary and others who have stepped up to help in the delivery of those food bags. That'll continue. The Rotary will pick up where the backpacks for kids leaves off in the summer like we have before. Again, we'll need some support from the community on that. It costs us a couple of $1,000s a week to provide that service, but we're glad to do it throughout the school year. We'll start it as soon as we have enough funds to start buying the food for the bags and so forth, but that will continue to make sure we take care of the kids. Nobody needs to be hungry in town right now.
And JW, I am sending some questions your way. You should see a little pop-up. Lynn and Brian are getting them as well.
Okay, I just saw that question that Brian referenced about the kids needing to be present. That's the only one I've seen.
I also saw one, it was a question about the materials that we'll start pushing out for our continuation of learning. And if that's new curriculum, that's not new curriculum. We'll continue to use at all grade levels the current curriculums that we have and just modify those down to the most essential topics that we think we can successfully teach and demonstrate mastery of in the last 40 days of school.
Ooh, I see answered questions. And this is my favorite question so far. It says, I love this community. Thank you, Brad. We all do.
So
JW,
that was not an answered question. That was one. You should also see one, JW, from Brian Hess.
I don't see it, so could you ask the question, please?
Reference the water treatment facility renovation. There was over $1 million set up from the capital fund, unsure proper fund name, to begin a phase of renovation. Can this be postponed to assist with making sure that maintenance and operations still occur and allow relief for those residents' ratepayers?
So it's a question that begs a much larger answer. I'm going to sum it up in this way. The wastewater treatment facility has had deferred maintenance on it for a number of years. The present council has wisely decided to put the plan in play to start those not just needed but necessary repairs to this facility. If we don't fix the facility now, the cost of repair and maintenance will just get larger and larger. And in fact, if it fails, then we incur fines and penalties, and we put unclean water into the river. It just goes from bad to worse to terrible to catastrophic very quickly. We have the ability to pay for this. We have funding mechanisms that we're looking toward, and we believe that we'll be able to continue on the path that we are set out upon without significantly raising anybody's rates again. It's going to take some work. And on that note, people need to understand that we are not shutting anybody's water off. Their utilities will remain in place. We do hope people will pay their bills. Again, that circular economy is important, and using some of the support that we're getting from the CARES Act and now from the Yelm Community Relief Fund, we believe people will have money to make those important payments. I hope that's enough of an answer for right now, but I can always be reached by email for further discussion on that. Do you have any others, Grant?
Brian, did you see yours?
I just saw that one. The question came in is, can we provide reassurance that our seniors will get to graduate and will get to walk? That's a really difficult question when we're not allowed to have large gatherings or bring people into close proximity to each other. Everything that we know statewide is that the prediction is that the social distancing restrictions will not be lifted prior to graduation. So that goes to the question is, what can we do to honor our seniors, to make sure that they get their diploma, make sure that they get their celebrations. We do know that we're working on a process that the high school will communicate out about April 24th, which it will be an opportunity throughout the day for students to get their cap and gowns that they've ordered. We will do everything that we can and what is allowable within the community and within the state to honor our seniors. I just don't think there can be any reassurance right now that we're going to be able to do our traditional graduation in the Tacoma Dome where 5,000 people come together and honor our seniors. I don't want to be disingenuous to anyone that is likely to happen. It doesn't appear that will likely to be happening. If things change, we can replan. There are lots of different things that we're talking about as ways to celebrate our graduates, and we'll be communicating those as soon as we get back into session after spring break and as we've planned them in conjunction with the city and the state. So I don't see any community really having a graduation ceremony that's typical to what we've done in the past, which is really sad. But we also know the importance of being able to keep each other safe and not do things that will endanger the health of other folks. As a former high school principal, that kills me to say that. I love graduation. It's what we're all about. We just may have to do it in a very different way this year.
Grant, JW, I had a question here that came in too. It's from the asker. I enjoyed the popcorn at Yelm Cinemas and saw it had a huge turnout. Is there any plans for more events like these with other businesses as a way to help them as well? We are working with our business community daily, communicating with them. And if any of these businesses are looking for fun new ways to reach their audiences in a different way, you know, thinking outside the box, I definitely want to chat with those businesses. You know, Uptown has moved their trivia online. The Ship Lab has moved their sales to online as well. I definitely would love to see our business community offering, you know, really cool things for our community to do that are a little bit different. And we're definitely here to help them as we make those changes.
So I did receive a question relative to business, and this has to do with the business and occupation tax that our successful businesses in town pay. Understand that half of our income as a city to provide vital services comes from our retail businesses and our commercial businesses. So through one way or the other. Some of this is through sales tax, the rest is through the B&O tax, and the other big chunk of our income is through property tax. Obviously, we're going to see some hits. We're going to see actually a spike in our retail sales tax because of all the panic buying that happened at the beginning of this. And then we're going to see a considerable downturn and reduction in those revenues as half of our businesses in town are not doing business for a while. Each one of them has their own challenges, and I hope they do well in the process of getting those funds through the CARES Act. Again, we would encourage people who can to pay their bills on time, particularly your B&O tax. But we have done an extension of the time. So if you're a business and you're having some challenges, you can defer your payment of your B&O tax to July 31st for both the first and second quarters of 2020. If you still owe money from 2019, and some do, we would hope that you would find a way to make those payments as well. It's a vital part of the revenue stream for the city of Yelm to provide services, keep our people employed, and we encourage you to do so. Again, nobody's going to get shut off on their water. If you do run into trouble, you call our finance department and we will work with you to pay off your bill on time if we need to, or we'll point you to a direction where you could get some relief. But that's what we're going to do at some of the things that we can do for our businesses to help them get through this.
I had another graduation question come in, Mayor Foster. And the question was, is there any consideration about possibly holding a graduation ceremony later on in the year? And the answer to that is yes. We are definitely open to a lot of suggestions. We're also looking into, is there something in the short term within the timeline of graduation that we might be able to do virtually? We really want to celebrate our seniors. We know this is a really important time for them. And as soon as we can, if the social distancing restrictions, when they're lifted, we'll investigate how best we can celebrate the class of 2020. Nothing's off the table at this point.
Brian, have you designated a single point of contact for the school system where if people have good ideas, they could send them in for consideration?
Yeah, we would ask that you work with the principal of the high school, John Johnson, and his email is john_johnson@ycs.wednet.edu. And he's taking a lot of those conversations right now, and we talk on a very regular basis about how do we really support seniors.
Okay, I'm checking an email that was just sent to me. So Grant, you said you sent me an email, but I don't see it.
It's from yesterday, sir.
And I still don't see it. Can you, is it a question you could ask for me?
I can't get to my email right here easily, unfortunately.
And okay, hold on a second, folks. Bear with us. Don't. Yeah, I don't see it. I'm sorry. So, and you don't remember the gist of the question? So no, I can't respond to that because I don't know what the question is. Apologies. And I saw a half message from Lori Shine. It just said that you had a question, but we haven't seen your question.
That was me. I was trying to repost some information that Lori had provided.
Okay. Well,
Mayor Foster, the email is my facts. 1, I have a Nisqually tribal family living in Yelm. 2, I feel connected to Yelm. And 3, I also utilize Yelm Veterinary for my pets. 4, I utilize Yelm Medical Plaza, ATI, Yelm PT, Yelm Foot and Ankle. I have unfinished business with them. 5, Yelm Twin Star drive-through works best for me. 6, I utilize Tim's Pharmacy for prescriptions. 7, Yelm drive-through food options are choices I love to choose. 8, I like to shop for groceries in Yelm. And 9, I love supporting the Yelm revenue with my earnings. Will Yelm remain open to receiving my continued support for me, my family, and pets? And that's from Ms. Graceberg.
Grace, that was just a wonderful commentary and an example of how many people use Yelm as their home base of operations. And yes, we're trying so hard to keep all of those things open for you within the guidelines set down by the governor for the stay home, stay safe, but still maintain operations of essential businesses. Sometimes there's some confusion about what an essential business is. You listed some of them, Grace, with pharmacies and stores. Some others are like a mechanic shop that has to work on a car of an essential nurse that has to get to work. That doesn't mean if you see the shop open that it's a great time to schedule your oil change. You stay home, your car will be fine. Leave those essential services available for people who are essential workers. That kind of thing all ties together. But we do appreciate everybody coming in and doing their shopping. I did shopping today for 3 families, and I was really happy to see the safety that they put in place at the store that I was in, and felt very comfortable. The guidelines set down from the health department says, wear a mask when you're within 6 feet of other people. So I did, and we would all look at each other cautiously as we sidled by each other in the aisles. The health department also said that you're safe to buy produce and groceries and take them home. They were not as clear about how well you should then disinfect, but just to be super safe, our family is taking the food out with gloves and wiping them off, the boxes and so forth, taking our produce and washing it as we always would have washed our produce, and then setting that stuff aside to dry. And that way we feel comfortable that we've done the best we can to avoid contact with the virus if it has been put on something accidentally by someone else. So thank you, Grace. I do see a question here. So the question in general, it's referencing so many businesses have had to lay people off because of the closure. Is the city of Yelm considering layoffs or in any other way cost savings because of the threat of decreased revenues? First off, we run a very lean ship in the city of Yelm as it is. We have just the right number of people to do the essential tasks. We've asked each one of our departments to consider how they could best perform if indeed at some point we do have to lay people off. And it's going to be a very big challenge for them because many of our team members are already cross-trained and doing more than their initial job description asked them to do. So it would be difficult for us to do that as a city without a considerable loss of service to the community. And we are going to analyze this month by month as we see what the revenues do look like, how they are affected. We'll look at our budget and see what adjustments we'll have to make immediately and in the long term to maintain those essential services. Fair question, though.
JW, I had a question that came in from Donna, who asks, do they have to be a member of the Chamber of Commerce to get that support? And I think she's referring to I want to chat with the businesses and see what they're thinking and see how we can support them. And Donna and any business that's listening, I want to talk to you. Give me a call, shoot me an email. I want to have these conversations, whether you're a chamber member or not. I want to be here to support you. We can talk about membership later. I want to support you now, right here, right now, first, and anything else we can cross that bridge when it gets there. So if you want to chat with me, you can email me, director@yelmchamber.com, and I would be happy to have that conversation.
Yelmchamber.what?
Director@yelmchamber.com.
Okay, thank you.
JW, I had a question about technology come in. I want to answer that if I can.
Yes, please.
That this, that it is a change of delivery, and we've always had a 1-to-1 ratio of devices for each student. We just have not been in the practice of sending those devices home with students on a nightly basis. And the question really is it time to revisit that? And the answer is yes. We know that there's no guarantee that we'll be absolutely in normal operations, even as early as next fall. We certainly hope that we are. But yeah, now is a good time to look at our policy to make sure that we have devices at home for kids. They take them to them from school. We're already planning for that. And then the second part of the question is we're also looking at ways that we can partner with different internet providers to make sure that we are helping extend internet service. We can't be the service provider, but we can help with technology that can help expand that, so that making it easier for people to access our network out in the more remote areas. So it's a good. We certainly don't ever want to go to a full-time distance learning model, but now we know that we have the ability to do it, and we'll plan forward with that.
And I certainly want to give a shout out and a prompt to the Yelm Area Chamber of Commerce for folks who have businesses who are not yet members of the chamber. It is a great organization for you to consider joining. The communication that you get between members is so helpful, especially to a new business owner. You think you don't have the time until you go to one of the meetings and you make all of these cross connections, and then you realize this was time well spent. So do consider being part of your Yelm Area Chamber of Commerce. End advertisement. You're welcome, Lynn.
Thank you for that, JW.
Sure. An additional question from a person here is, when would be the best time for someone with asthma to go shopping? And this would actually relate to anybody with a pre-existing medical condition, anybody who's in that more vulnerable age group, although I'll pause just a moment to say that vulnerable age group is not as defined as it once thought to be. We have half of the people who have contracted COVID-19 in Thurston County are under 60 years of age. So consider yourself vulnerable anyway, but people who have depressed immune systems or have pre-existing medical conditions, especially respiratory, should be extra cautious about going out in public. And what I recommend is that you have somebody else do the shopping for you. There are plenty of folks in the community who would do so if you could send them the list. You can also approach Safeway, and I believe Walmart has the same thing, and many of the smaller businesses even. You can call ahead or use their online app, order your food, your groceries, your medicines, and have it delivered to your car at curbside so that you don't even have to get out. That said, early in the morning is better. And if the store is offering special hours for vulnerable people, then check in with them and take advantage of that opportunity as well.
I had a question about construction over at the new Yelm Middle School site. The first part of the question was, is it allowed to continue? The answer is yes. That is a business that, or is an operation that's been approved to continue. And the second part of the question was, are we able to accelerate the construction schedule because the kids aren't there for the last couple of months of the school year? And the answer is we're going to do our best to do that. We'll be able to have full access to the construction site sooner than we planned, and that will help us. But everything about that design and that construction project is on schedule, under budget, doing very well. And they're actually knocking down buildings over there today. The old maintenance buildings came down this morning. So after we're done here, I'm going to go drive by and see what's missing.
Very good. A comment from one of our financial institutions. They want to make sure people understand their bank or credit union is there to help them in maybe more ways than a person might even understand at this point. If you have questions about your car payment, house payment, credit card payment, anything like that, please call your financial institution and ask. They may be able to help you out. I know some of the insurance companies are giving rebates to people because of the reduced travel miles, and so reduced risk that they're experiencing as an industry. And you know, that's going to be $50 in the pocket per month for somebody with a typical auto insurance policy. So talk to each one of the businesses that you do business with, or creditors or financial institutions, and see if they can help you in some way too. Scanning for questions. Brian, did you want to launch into a version of the Yelm fight song for us while we're looking for questions?
No, nobody in this world wants to hear me sing. That's for darn sure.
We just got a very nice comment from Debbie Furman. Thank you, the latest citizen of Yelm. We appreciate you so much. We appreciate you appreciating us.
She is an incredible volunteer and great resource for this community. Thank you, Debbie.
Yeah, great cheerleader.
Okay, we're coming up on the 1 hour mark. Get your questions.
Foster, I will note that I've been answering some of the questions in the background, one of which was from Councilmember Colt, who wanted to know who your favorite council member was. I did let him know that it's Councilmember Stillwell. And now he would like to let everybody know that the city council rocks, and you guys are swell too.
You know, that was very nice of Councilmember Colt to join in. We had our first city council meeting, virtual city council meeting last night, and the meeting itself went very well. Unfortunately, the virtual media that we were using did not support the meeting, and some of it didn't even get recorded. We apologize for that. The Yelm website will have the recording of what we were able to capture, and we have since fixed the system so that upcoming meetings, like on the 14th is our next city council meeting, those will be live streamed, and there'll be an opportunity for people to comment in at the appropriate time at the beginning of the meeting when we ask people to do public comment as it is. Otherwise, they'll be muted just like at this meeting. But, and again, all recorded for people to watch later. Okay, let's wrap up and review. I'll start first. No, I won't. I'll start last. So we'll start with Lynn. Last thoughts, and then Brian, and then me, please.
Last thoughts, just continue to support our small businesses that are still out there for you. Take a look at Yelm To Go, that's offering all our restaurants that are still open and their menus. You know, pack your trips into one. just like we all learned when we were little. We're going to get through this, and we're here to weather the storm with you. So if there's anything that we can do here at the Chamber to help, please reach out.
Thank you, Lynn, and thank you, Angie, in the background. Brian?
I just want to start off by acknowledging that we live in a great community. I'm so proud of everything that our town has done and our community has done. And as proud as I am of the community, I'm even more proud of our staff. Just done incredible work over the last 3 weeks to change over how we do school. And so to all of our families and our students, we need you there on Monday in person, or not in person, but online and on the phone, and however we've worked with you to connect. School's not out yet. We've still got the fourth quarter to go. We're going to do great things, and we'll get through this. We will do right by our seniors. We're thinking about you guys all the time.
Very good, thank you. And from the city side, first, on a personal note, I am so honored to be able to serve my community in this capacity. And I believe that the support that I'm getting from the city council members and certainly from our staff have made this job easier. Although the challenges are enormous, we're rising up to them as a community, and it's been rewarding to see this. The city is here to help you. We do have to keep our business going too, and so we want you to cooperate with that. But come to our website, watch our social media posts, and look for the help that you need. If you still need help, message me. You can message the mayor or city council on the Yelm website. You can call my number directly, 360-458-8401, or you can email me. We need to know what we can do to help you. Look for an opportunity soon to make an application for some relief funds from the Yelm Community Relief Fund, and we'll keep you posted. This is just the first week. We have a few more weeks to go in April, and I think we're going to do a great job of it. There's only 30 days in April, right? So it's a short month, but we're going to do well together. And my parting thought is all of our generations have been named Gen X and Baby Boomer and so forth. And someone just suggested to me the other day that the generation that's being conceived now during the stay home, stay safe order will someday be known as coronials. Silence, crickets. Thank you everybody for participating in our virtual town hall. We look forward to hearing from you again soon, and we'll do this again probably in a week or two. All right, thank you. We're going to go ahead and sign off.